Jessica.
I'm Emmalynn.
And in today's video we are going to be chatting about the books we read in December.
Very few.
Yes, and also this is the last day for our tree to be up, or any of our Christmas decorations to be up, so just bear with us as we finish out this 12th day of Christmas, you know? Okay, right off the bat, the first book I read in the month of December was Holiday Romance by Catherine Walsh. I've never read anything by Catherine Walsh before, but I feel like this is a beloved holiday romance. Hence its name.
That's so funny.
And it's free on Kindle Unlimited, so I was like, what the heck, I'll read this. And so I did, and this follows,
I feel like this was honestly the month of Kindle Unlimited books.
Yeah, it was, for sure. It follows our main characters, Molly and Andrew, and they have been sitting on the same flight to go home for Christmas every year. So it's like a Christmas tradition that every year when they go home to their, they live in Chicago, when they go home to Ireland, that they sit next to each other on the plane and they just like catch up about what's going on in each other's lives and yada yada. And this year, their flight gets canceled due to weather, and so they have to figure out how to get back home to Ireland. Molly doesn't really care that much about getting back home, but Andrew really wants to get home to his family, and so she kind of like vows to him that she's gonna make this happen, and boy does she go out of her way to make it happen. And then, as you can gather by the title, romance ensues. And it was really cute. It had a lot of funny parts. I would say, like, in comparison to Courtney Walsh's books, there's definitely like some more adult humor, more adult like scenes, but not like a lot. So it was easy to kind of just glance over. But I really enjoyed it. There is a second book that follows Andrew's brother, I believe. So if you like this book, you could read that one as well.
Okay, my first book is Faking Christmas by Cindy Steele, and this is in the Christmas Escape series on Kindle Unlimited. It's a bunch of different authors. They're all clean romance books, and guess what? This one is fake dating, again, if you couldn't tell by the name. And this follows Olive, I believe is her name, and Miles, and they're both English teachers at a high school. And one day she's like emailing her friend about how annoying he is, and realizes she sent the email to him.
It's like my worst nightmare.
But she's like talking about how attractive he is, but also how like she hates him, and so he just like uses it against her and quotes her email to her all the time. And then she goes to Vermont on a vacation, and before she goes, she's on the phone with her sister, and she's like, yeah, I have a new boyfriend, and she just like spits out that it's his name because it's the first person that came to her mind. And she gets to this lodge, and none other than Miles himself is also there. So, because her family thinks she's already dating him, they have to pretend that they're dating. And it's
crazy how that works out.
Well, there's actually like her best friend kind of schemed like, oh, your family should go to the lodge, knowing that his family owns it.
Gotcha.
So it was pretty funny. I don't know, it's like not even able to compare this with Christmas Baggage because a Vermont lodge and like touring London are two very different things, but I love both of these.
Okay, the next book we both read, and we read The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe for our book club class we teach at our homeschool co-op. And this was obviously a reread for me and you, right?
Yeah, I've read it.
I feel like you read it when you were little. But I just love, I feel like this is a book you could revisit every winter, obviously, because it's set in winter, but just, I don't know, the vibes, the nostalgia, reading it and then watching the movie is like a perfect pairing. One of my favorite books of all time. Can't say enough good things about it. Then I continued reading the Naturals series and read All In, which is the third book in the series. And I'm trying to think which book I would say. I think I would say the second book was my favorite, but this one was really interesting because it has like a main element of the crimes that or the murders that they're trying to solve are taking place in all these different casinos across the United States, and so they're trying to figure out like what is tying these murders together, and I don't know. It was like a really interesting concept. Again, these characters are like really continuing to grow on you throughout the series. If you don't know what this series is about, it's basically criminal minds with teenagers. They're all gifted in different areas. They're taken in and trained by the FBI. They start out working cold cases, and then, kind of spoiler, they eventually get to work on like and be involved in current investigations. So if that's your thing, if you love true crime, these are really easy reads, very bingeable reads. So if you're looking for something to get you out of a reading slump, I would highly recommend the Natural series.
You can't tell me teenagers in a casino and not have me think of Percy Jackson.
True.
Like, that's, I can hear Lady Gaga in the distance.
Gaga, ooh la la. Okay.
I was gonna be sick of my head. Anyways, the next book I read was actually for like a blind book exchange with one of my best friends. And so I've already read this before, but it's The Do-Over by Lynn Painter. This is a great recommendation if you want to get into the Valentine's Day mood. If you like reading romance around Valentine's Day, this takes place on Valentine's Day.
Oh, I didn't know that.
And it's like a play on Groundhog Day. She just keeps waking up, and all these things keep happening to her over and over again. She wakes up and she gets in a car wreck every single day on the way to school. She sees her boyfriend cheating on her every day. And then one day she's just like, whatever, I'm gonna wake up and just, it's gonna be the same day, so why not just do whatever I want? So she like skips school and does all these random things, and it's extremely entertaining, very fast paced because, I mean, it's the same day, so it goes by kind of fast. One of my favorite things is there's like random confessions at the start of every chapter. She'll be like, confession number 1. One time when I was a kid, I threw potatoes into my neighbor's pool. Like, just the most random things. It gives you something to kind of look forward to at the beginning of every really chapter.
Funny. Okay. The next book I read was probably, I think I'll say it was probably my favorite read of the month, and that was Merry Xmas by Courtney Walsh. And I'll just say it is my mission to go back and read everything that Courtney Walsh has ever written. I love everything she writes. I don't care how cheesy they are. They're wholesome, they're clean, and they're just a good time. But this follows our main character, who is, what is her name? I don't know. It doesn't
People
even
make
say.
fun of fantasy books names, but like
Nobody
ever remembers the names of contemporary characters.
It says his name, but not hers.
That's how the last one was.
Whatever. Anyways, she is a, like, on-site news reporter, so she's not an anchor. She's wanting to get her own morning show. But she hasn't been home in, like, 8 years or something for Christmas, which I find completely ridiculous, to be honest.
This seems like a theme with her books.
Like, what's the point? Like, why? What's your excuse to not go home for Christmas if you're single and you have a job and you can afford it? Anyways, so she decides she's gonna go home. She's wanting to be the host of Good Day Denver. So she lives in Denver, but her family lives in like rural Illinois, I think. And so she finally goes home to visit her parents, or they think that's why she's coming home, but really she's coming home because she's doing like this Christmas segment of like, come with me back home to my small town for Christmas. And so it's like, it's really more about her and her job than just going home to visit. But when she shows up on her parents' front door, her ex-boyfriend opens the door, and apparently he's been like coming and staying with her family for Christmas for like the last 8 years.
That's so funny.
And so she's like really mad about it because he was like her high school sweetheart. They went off to college together, and he just like broke her heart, and she's never forgiven him for it. So she's like super mad at her family for letting him come stay with them for Christmas and like hiding it from her and all this. But it's just like, I don't know, it's really endearing. I feel like she does hold a grudge a little longer than it seems like necessary. But anyways, it's cute. It has a lot of Christmas elements in it. It's a good time. There's like a lot of funny things that happen while they're trying to like, so eventually what happens is the producer like videos them live, and so people start to think that her and Max are together, and the viewers are like, we love their relationship, it's so sweet, and they're not obviously together, so they pretend to be together for ratings. And so like she hates him, but she's having to pretend to like be into him and for them to be together and all that. So it's pretty funny. There's a lot of like banter because she just like still has such a grudge against him, but I really enjoyed it. It was a fun time.
Okay, my next book was also Courtney Walsh, and I'm not going to talk about it too long because we already talked about this in our November wrap-up video, and that is A Cross-Country Christmas, which is a cross-country Christmas. They go on a road trip, unwillingly. We have another main character who hasn't been home in years, and she's scared of flying, and so her brother is like, you're not missing the birth of my child. I'm sending my best friend to come get you, who she's like pined after her entire life. And so,
but he always thought she was like off limits because she is his best friend's sister. So,
but it's just very entertaining. Again, she holds a grudge a little too long.
Yeah.
But like, if I'm being honest, it would be the female to hold a grudge too long. Like it's realistic. She's the only one that understands that the grumpy sunshine, the grumpy is 9 times out of 10 the girl.
Yeah.
Like that's
and
just
she's like
realistic.
aware of how grumpy she is.
Yeah.
She has self-awareness.
She doesn't care.
But she's like, I don't know how to be any other way. So,
but it's just very entertaining. I love a good found family dynamic as well. Again, Kindle Unlimited flew by.
Okay, I read Bad Blood next, which is the 4th and final book in the Natural series. I think there is a novella, but this is like the final full book. And boy, was this a wild ride, let me tell you. There was a lot that happened in this book. There's like some cultish vibes. I can't really say a whole lot because it's kind of a continuation of the previous book, but I really liked the way it wrapped up. It wasn't necessarily like the way that I wanted it to, but it was finished and kind of like brought full circle very well. So I really enjoyed it.
Okay, my last book is The Housemaid by Frida McFadden. Again, we talked about this recently. This was the month of reading things that Mother told me to. And comment below if you think she should read what I tell her to, because she never does. Anyways.
Not entirely true.
You have to be like persuaded by someone else also. Like if someone else posts about it, you'll be like, oh, you're right.
Adrienne Young's book that you wanted me to read.
Sky in the Deep.
No.
Supposed to be forgetting?
Yes.
That was her video. Anyways.
Yeah, but it was her idea.
Anyways, this follows Millie, who is a housemaid.
Shocking.
For this rich family. She has a secret. She went to prison for murder, and so she tries to keep that like under wraps and believes that the family that hires her has no idea that happened. Lots of crazy things happen. Nobody is who you think they are.
Nope.
There's nothing to say. I can't even, don't read the synopsis. Like, just go read it.
I feel like she is, I got kind of mad. This is like a sidebar. You can tell me if you agree. Because you're reading another book by her now, right? Okay. So you've read 2 books by her, which is all I've read also. I'm reading one right now. But someone compared her to Colleen Hoover. And I was like, I don't feel like that's a fair comparison at all. Because Colleen Hoover is like a...
How does that even make sense?
A romance author, and she is like a psychological thriller author. Like, also, how can you even compare the 2?
If you're comparing, Millie, like, tries to help people get out of domestic abuse relationships, and Colleen Hoover writes them.
Yeah.
So that doesn't even make sense to me.
I don't know. Just a weird, like, sidebar, but I really like her stuff. It's like, I feel like she's a go-to author for, like, if you're just wanting something fast and bingeable, you know.
That makes you want to read. Also, it doesn't feel like a chore.
Yeah. Okay, the last book I read was The Fury by Alex Michaelides. I got this book as a digital ARC from NetGalley, which I was very excited about because
What an honor.
Yes. I loved The Silent Patient. And I really liked The Maidens. The Silent Patient is like top tier for me. And this is in the 3rd place of his 3 books. This book was just so disappointing to me for a lot of reasons. One of the things that really bothered me about this book, and maybe this is just like my own personal taste, but the narrator of this story from the get-go addresses himself as the narrator. So he's like, I will be the narrator of this story, and in order for me to tell you this story, I have to introduce our star characters. And so it's just, I don't know, that kind of bothered me a little bit because of the way it was just written was very, I don't know, it was almost like, it didn't feel like a story. But this follows...
It felt more like an article.
Yeah, it felt more like like an article. But it is set in Greece. Obviously, everything has to have this Greek element, which is fine. But it felt like not even really like part of the story. It was just where it was set. There was no like Greek elements really throughout. I mean, he kind of mentioned a few Greek characters, like comparing people to them, but anyways, it's the story of a murder. So all throughout the story, the narrator is kind of like telling the story of the murder. He references Agatha Christie, like this isn't an Agatha Christie book of like a whodunit. This is more of a why did they do it. So that was, I mean, it was kind of an interesting take, I guess, but it follows a main girl. Her name is Lana, and she's a famous actress. And then her, like, group of friends, her husband, her son, they go to this island. So it's giving, like, what? And then there were none. And the murder takes place, and so you're like...
This is a
it just felt very much like And Then There Were None. Like, and I think that's what's bothered me, because he said it's not like an Agatha Christie book, but then it was very similar to And Then There Were None. That's right. I don't know. I didn't enjoy this book at all. I had to make myself read it, like, to finish. There's that. Like, if you're... I feel bad for people who ordered this as a book of the month, honestly, because I feel like it is going to be a disappointment for a lot of people.
Expecting what his other books
are. It's not like his other books at all. At all. So, anyways, that's the last of what we read for the month of December. Let us know what your favorite book for the month of December is. And... we'll see you in our next video. Bye-bye.